This is the Spurs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, it's only fitting that on a day where, really more than a day, in a 36-hour span that saw your San Antonio Spurs have to show the true grit and mettle of just being the everyday traveler in the winter storm, it's only fitting that they showed that grittiness on the floor tonight and walked away with a tough win against the Orlando Magic. Welcome into the Spurs POSTCAST right here on Locked On Spurs. Of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the world because of the everydayers like yourself. He's NBA champion Devin Brown. I'm Casey Viera. And a good win for your San Antonio Spurs this evening. They take care of business 112-103 against the Orlando Magic on the tail end of a back-to-back, battling winter storms, getting out of Charlotte. A whole bunches of planes, trains, and automobiles to get to ultimately back to the Alamo City, and they do the job. It was not pretty, my friend, but sometimes, given the circumstances, not pretty doesn't matter, and they chalk one up on the right side of the ledger.
Yeah, I heard the 8.5, 9.5 hours. It reminded me of my days in the D League. Just another day at the office. Let's break this down, Casey.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Yeah, so breaking down 8.5, 9 hours of travel into about 10 seconds here. So they're stuck in Charlotte after the early game last night. They leave bright and early this morning, or attempt to, in more snow. They get the plane up in the air. They get rerouted to Atlanta mid-flight, land in Atlanta, change planes, then finally get to San Antonio around 3:30, 3:45. Remember, this tip was originally scheduled for 3 o'clock, then 6, and then a little bit later on today, pushed all the way back to 8. So figure 4 and change before tip-off, actually. Very little time to work with, which is ironic because the first time they played in Orlando, they got into town at 3:30 in the morning. League was like, oh, you did well there. Let's see what you got now. Stephon Castle, as a result, did not play due to that adductor situation. And honestly, it didn't matter in the first half, all these elements, because in the first quarter, they hit 2/3 of their shots. They shot 67% from the field, go up by 16 after one, 37-21, up by as many as 18. Then promptly they blow it in the second quarter and ultimately fall behind by one, outscored 40-30, 23 in that frame. Then the second half, you could tell just the energy, and then paired with the fact that the Magic are just a scrappy team anyways. They were just like, we're just going to muck it up the rest of the way, man. We have that. Our patience is wearing thin from this long travel day. We're just going to get physical with you. And then Desmond Bane on the Orlando side of things, he gladly obliged, doing his things as well. Ultimately, the Spurs win that quarter 26-19, holding the Magic to only 19 points in that third and go up by 7 after 3. Same deal come the fourth. But the big thing in the fourth quarter is that we saw the youthful legs come about. Carter Bryant, big plays. Dylan Harper, big plays. The vet, Devin Vassell, some big shots in crunch time. And ultimately, they walk away with the victory. Wemby goes for 25, 8, 4 steals, 5 blocks. Vassell with 16, Fox 14 and 10, Harper 15, 6 and 5, and 28 minutes of work. All over the place tonight. But again, like I said, you get to the finish line. No matter how you do there, at the end of the day, you're 33 and 16 and ending the night feeling good.
Yeah, so let's look at some of the numbers. 50% from the floor, we'll take that. 48 total rebounds. Out-rebounded the Magic by 14. 27 assists, love it. The only thing that I'm concerned about, and it's been the last couple of games, about 2-3 games, is the free throws. 22 of 32. Got to pick that up a little bit, but yeah, today was about energy. You know, you go through this long stretch of, just playing in a game. You know, the NBA life, when you play in a game and you're leaving out of town, you go straight to the airport, you get through security, or what they call security, get on the plane and you're out of there. Well, that gets disrupted, right? There's snow on the ground. You can see it when you're getting off the bus to load that plane, and you're like, man, I hope these pilots can see, because even getting to the bus is trouble. So you experience things like that. Casey, there was a storm. We had played the Knicks, and the next night we were going to play Philly. So they organized the train because there was not going to be a plane leaving out of there. They knew that,
Right.
looking ahead.
Yeah.
And we got on that plane, and I'll never forget what Pop said. He said, "We're never doing this." It was so loud on that train, and it was just us. But just, I don't know. A lot of people do it up north. Of course, that's how they travel. But I'm not from the north, and so when we were on that train, you can't sleep. So been there, done that. But it's good that they got here safe, Casey. They played the game, and like you said, I think they got first half great, whatever with that. But the second half, once it seems like Orlando started putting hands on Wemby, it sparked the others, and they kind of got rid of them, despite all the antics from them. But just a great win, Casey, all in all.
Yeah, and honestly, this is the second consecutive game, really probably third consecutive game that we've seen a team get really physical with Victor, and then instead of just kind of like the nonchalant shake it off type deal, which he still does to a certain extent, he got up a lot of these times and he was fired up.
Yeah.
And we haven't really seen that. But he's scrapping with Desmond Bane today at the back end, the closing minutes there. Bane hit him with the off arm in the face, and then he came back with a dunk on top of him, put him up, I think, 17 with about 2 change to go. So that's something that you like seeing, Victor just being mean, because how many times have we gone on here and said, you got to do exactly that, man?
The thing about it, Casey, is when someone hits you, and that's what I'm right on the same page with you as far as Wemby's going, because they're taking shots at him. But then it's when they take the shot at him, they're like, "Oh, okay, you're all right, big fella," and he's not putting up with that. You saw it in Houston. You saw it in Charlotte. If you go near him, he's gonna brush you off in that, in that way where the bully in the schoolyard does.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's good to see him doing that because he's all business, and that's why they're 33-16, because he means business out there. But love what the big fella's doing.
Yeah, the 4 steals, 5 blocks. That was notable tonight as well, in 28 minutes of work. Dylan Harper also played 20 minutes, like 28 minutes, I should say. He, along with his fellow rookie classmate tonight, like I mentioned, big time fourth quarter, and really the X factor into why the Spurs walk away with this dub.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under the radar impact with today's X factor.
And something that you like is that it's twofold here when it comes to Carter Bryant, when it comes to Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper, this is his third straight game in double-figure scoring, which is great given the slump that he was in basically for the entirety of December. That part you like. The Carter Bryant side of things, that part you like, because he continues to look confident in his, brief cameo minutes. I guess I can't even really call him cameo minutes anymore because he's getting consistent minutes, not a ton, but he's taking advantage of it. And again, in these spots when Mitch has to dig deep into the bench and disperse those minutes a little bit more, you got to take advantage of the opportunities, especially on the Carter Bryant side of things. He finished tonight. He played ultimately. I just stepped out of the tab. He ultimately played. Let's get it real quick. There it is. Carter Bryant played 16 minutes to Harper's 28. Point being, though, this is what you look for out of these youngsters, the fresh legs, whether it's any fresher than everybody else, I'm not particularly sure. But the number was called and they took advantage of it.
Well, yeah, you have to. Dylan, Mr. Harper is getting, his legs back underneath him. Some of the moves to create his shot, just beautiful basketball. Seems like he can get, to the rim with both hands more and more, here in this little stretch. The mid-range jump shot looks good. He hit a 3 tonight. So, it's looking good with him. Carter Bryant, he's putting people in street clothes. He's playing so well. But he's doing a great job of just, going in there and playing his 10 to 15 minutes. Seems like Mitch will stretch him a little bit more, if he has to. But the thing that I'm really liking about Carter is that he's stepping up and guarding these things, guarding guys like Bane, guys like KD. He's not afraid, and it's good to see both the young guys playing well.
No, I agree. Yeah, especially on the Carter Bryant side of things. Well, yeah, I mean both. You know, you're looking for that confidence, you're looking for that sustained consistency. And at the end of the day, I mean, I thought you put it very well there, putting guys in street clothes and not even in street clothes, I guess in Jeremy Sohan's case, in different uniforms in the next coming days. But that's kind of what you look for. You look for him to do exactly that, take advantage of the opportunity when presented, and move forward and keep the line moving like they did. And will have to continue doing coming up on Wednesday, which is very quietly kind of snuck up on everyone. Wednesday, very quietly, is already Oklahoma City round 5. We've already gotten to that point for the 5th and final time of the regular season, at least. Who knows what the spring looks like? The Spurs going to match up with the Thunder at the Frost Bank Center coming up Wednesday night. So on the other side of the break, we'll hit on that a little bit more, see how they've changed, how they've grown for better or for worse since last time they get together as they try to take their 4th win in 5 tries against their Western Conference rival and the only team ahead of them in the conference standings right there right now in the Western Conference. But before we get to that, we step aside and have a conversation about a few of our friends that help drive this program. Yeah, those, including Prize Picks. And as we know, the big game's almost here. There's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. You know that by now. This week, they have a special big-time discount, the max discount for the big game. Listen up, because I'm going to make you some money right now. You want to hear what it is? Drake May just needs 1 passing yard for the max discount to win. Add another player to your lineup, and if your pick hits, you can cash in. So take advantage of it. Unless things spiral for Drake May in the Super Bowl, but you never know. I get the feeling that they will not. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups to play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first 5 with Prize Picks. It's good to be right, as it is to check in with the Frost Bank Center every time the San Antonio Spurs are in town, which of course is Wednesday. And I'm going to do you another favor. I'm going to tell you how to get tickets. You're going to check out the Game Time app. Why? Well, it's the go-to app for scoring tickets fast, without hassle, and it puts advantage right back into the fans' hands, and that's exactly where it belongs. It takes the guesswork out of buying these tickets. It's simple. It's easy. You get what you're paying for right from the jump. No little bells and whistles, hoops to jump through. So download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. And finally, let's have a conversation about our mental health, brought to you today by BetterHelp. February can be a lot with flowers, candy, stuffed animals, so much talking about relationships. It honestly can feel like everyone else has it all together with their life. But here's the truth. When you're married, dating, single, or just focusing on you, most people are still figuring it out. No matter where you are in your romantic journey, therapy is going to help you find your way, and it can help you get a clear way on what you want and what feels heavy and how to take some pressure off yourself. So check out BetterHelp, licensed therapists in the United States, and they do the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your goals. And if you want to switch therapists, you can do that at any time as well. Sign up, 10% off at betterhelp.com. Use LockedOnNBA, BETTERHELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Believe it or not, I should say. Well, actually, you do believe it because I just told you on the other side of the break. Oklahoma City awaits coming up Wednesday night, paying a visit to the Alamo City for the second time this season. Of course, the Spurs taking the first 3 matches all in the month of December. The most recent one back in OKC didn't exactly go the visiting team's way, and probably one of the lesser showings the Spurs have put out there this season. One that kind of drew a lot of criticism about Victor's no more than Victor. I would say just about a lot of the collective toughness of this team to be in a spot where they're in the prime time and they just kind of struggle at that part. And, you know, a lot of negative things were said. But on the other side of things, they've responded. How do you think they've grown from that game in the past couple of weeks?
If I had to put it
even, let me rephrase that. Have they even grown from that game?
Right. Well, I mean, you know, I wanna say yes, because you grind out a victory like tonight, but I still got a hangover from Charlotte.
Mhm.
There were some bad possessions there. And even, let's be fair here, because you know me, I'm always watching possessions. The
Mhm.
first 3 possessions of the second half against Orlando, I don't want to watch that.
No.
Threes coming from everywhere. So when you ask me that, I start, my mind starts going into coach mode, and it's just about value, because OKC, you got to maximize your possessions. You can't go out there willy-nilly against a team like that. So what I'm going to want to see against OKC is handling the pressure that they're going to put on you, Victor playing his game, and the other guys playing off of Victor.
Mhm.
That's what I want to see.
I'm kind of in the boat that a similar boat with you is I don't really feel like they've dramatically changed for the better, but I also don't feel like we've seen a regression since then to that point, which I guess is encouraging, right? For where
Right.
they're at right now, as long as you're not moving backwards, you're moving forwards, because they haven't really done anything, correct me if I'm wrong, that Houston game to make, just be blown away, to get an overriding sense of confidence that they're going to blow the Thunder's doors off coming up on Wednesday. They might beat them. I mean, they beat them 3 times out of 4, so plenty of reason to believe they can. But you know what I'm getting at. I'm not, one way or another, I haven't been particularly moved since that night. But I think there are a lot of aspects that they need that we'll learn again, like we continue to learn against some of these good teams in these playoff spots, playoff type atmospheres, is some of the mistakes that they make against the Magic, like you saw the shot selection. And then again in the crunch time today, it felt like just simple spots, slow the game down, wind some clock, you're up by 15 points. The one stretch one sequence sticking out in my head, Victor gets a stop and then tries to go end to end and like kicks the ball around. Thankfully, they got it back. And even Sean on the broadcast was like, "What are you guys doing?"
Well, yeah. What are y'all? Yeah, he did.
What are you guys doing? So things like that. Obviously, they're not going to fly, but that's not what's going to be the main conversation on the marquee. When this goes down on
But
Wednesday.
Casey, let me say this. So
Yeah,
OKC, we all know OKC is the standard, right?
of course.
Okay. So we got to see what we match up against them, late in the season, because it's crazy how they're playing. Good teams get off to a good start. They'll go through a little bit of a lull, and then they turn it on right around the All-Star break, and especially after the All-Star break. So this could be a good time. Like, if I'm one of the Spurs coaches, I'm looking at this timing of this game, and I'm going, all right, now let's see how the fellas react to this because of our last 10 games. Let's see how they react to OKC and what OKC does to us, because I believe Jalen's still out, but they got plenty of other players around. And so they're going to come in here and they're going to play well. And I think they want to see where they stack up to them now as OKC prepares for All-Star break and the second half of their season.
Give me a champion's mindset here, or I guess the viewpoint from the top of the mountain when you're on that Oklahoma City side of things, looking down on the Spurs, who still, despite beating them up the last game, they still got your number 3 times.
Right.
On the other side of things, how do you think they view the Spurs right now?
So they're, number one, I got to get Chet to get Wemby out of his head, and I need you to play, big fella. Come out there, go at him. He's going to go at you. Although Chet's, some of the games I've seen, he's been hitting his 3 a lot more. He's being more aggressive. You know what SGA is going to bring, but we need 2 to 3 other guys to make sure that they follow along with that. And that's what OKC does a great job of. And then I can be here all night talking about how they are defensively. They're great defensively. So when you look at what San Antonio brings, where we're at. They're chasing us. We're the better basketball team. All we're trying to do is go into San Antonio and get out of there with a win.
And how about this? One of the few times Spurs fans will ever be rooting for Oklahoma City. The Thunder winners tonight just went final, beating the Denver Nuggets. And as a result, Mitch Johnson is going to be going to be coaching one of the two All-Star teams this year, because they're going World versus the States, and so as a result, he is going to be the head coach of the Western Conference All-Star team.
Yeah, that's good. We sit here and there's some decision he makes and this and that. At the end of the day, Casey, 33-16. Congratulations. That's a heck of a deal, because there's a lot of coaches that have come before him that never got this opportunity.
Yeah, for context, for those checking in who are curious, because the way they do it is the best record in the conference coaches the team. However, if said coach was coaching the team last year, in this case Mark Dagno, which he was, they don't have to coach the team. So they go next in line, who has the second best record in the league this year in the conference, and that was Mitch Johnson, outdueling the younger of the Adelmans over there in Denver.
Hey, Casey, it's just like my stories. In 5 years, I'm not going to tell it that way. All I'm going to tell you is we were leading the conference and I'm coaching them.
And the history books, my friend, what are they going to say in 20 years? Exactly. What are they going to say?
Exactly.
2046, some two random bums like us sitting on a podcast. Like, who coached the Western Conference All-Stars in 2026?
Yeah.
Oh, the Spurs must have been really good that year.
Good, exactly.
They were. Hey, our player of the game tonight, obviously really good, and finally settling back in form a little bit since coming back from injury.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Good to see Devin Vassell catching his stride, 16 points tonight.
Yeah, ever since he's been back, I guess it's just, Wemby that's on minutes restrictions, and the others, they just throw him out there 30, 35 minutes. And so he's been, his shot was there tonight. It's been there the last couple of games, but tonight he was really good. And what that does is it opens the floor for everybody else. He had a big night, and it's good to see him getting back into that form how he was before the injury. So congratulations to him on winning our award tonight.
Yeah, it goes to show you how, we talked about it the other day with Harrison Barnes, how far consistent shooting from the perimeter on the outside really takes this team, and Barnes' struggles and Vassell getting hurt, that had a notable impact on everybody else. But now that they have that floor spacer out there, if he can stay healthy, he makes an impact. Just like we saw tonight, obviously, you're hoping for the best. When it comes to you and I get together on these postcasts, that aforementioned Oklahoma City game, Wednesday, Devin and I, as you guys know, we will be there like we are every week. But Monday starts a whole week of busy programming for you Spurs fans out there. Of course, Jeff on the title pod every single day, Monday through Friday. Got the Spurs Squad Show coming up on Tuesday night. The two of us and Jeff Garcia, 9 o'clock. We have a conversation. Going to be plenty of dialogue about said Oklahoma City game. And then, of course, Wednesday. And more games this week. We got a lot to talk about. The Western Conference slate is picking up, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. And you guys, the ones at home, make it fun too. We appreciate all your engagement and traction. And hey, for the viewers at home, I know it wasn't easy for you guys neither, because you today you thought you were planning around 3 o'clock, then 6, then 8, and then you knew at the end of the day where you were checking out at the end of the game, you were coming back here. So we appreciate that part, as we always do as well here at Locked On Spurs and Locked On Podcast Network. Good night for San Antonio, braving the elements and coming back to the Alamo City and beating up on the Orlando Magic, 112-103, moved to 33-16 on the season. So for my good friend, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. Have a nice night, and we'll talk to you later this week.